Oh boy. Game of Thrones this week. We had quite the interesting turnout, especially at the end. I'm not sure where to start as usual, but I think I'll start at the end, just because I gotta get that off my chest. That was too much. She visited Marjorie, and she trolled the shit out of her and the whole thing, and then she seemed so happy until the time comes for the hammer to fall on her, and it was awesome. It's like, yeah, bitch, that's what you deserve. And it's very, very funny because she was spouting the exact same stuff that Marjorie was saying. So I guess let me go back a little bit. Let me cycle back a little bit to the beginning of this viewpoint where she was speaking to Tommen, and what seemed like a heartfelt moment, we all knew was not as heartfelt as you would think. I did like the fact that Tommen was showing a lot of backbone in this episode. That was something I didn't care for in the last one, but now he's actually starting to show a bit of backbone. He's saying, I'll start a war for this, for my queen, basically. So I really did like that. But Cersei knows what to do. She says, I'll speak to them. Worst mistake of her life, by the way, because now she's in jail. But, you know. Anyway, um, with her viewpoint, I mean, those are pretty much the only two scenes, right? Um, I think so. She spoke to Tommen, and then we had that whole moment, and then she got her ass whooped after trolling the hell out of Marjorie. What's that called? Oh yeah, I believe it's called karma, and it is a bitch. Not as much of a bitch as her, but is a bitch. So I thought that was great. Um, Now let's talk about we'll talk about Jamie and Bronn real quick because that's very very short, very quick. Obviously Jamie is the Prince of Dorne, the steward or king or whatever is he sent Marcella in to ease his concerns. She's obviously not being treated poorly. It wasn't a real threat, I don't think. It may have come from Ilaria Martell or whatever her name was. The the girl who cut her hair and ordered the sand snakes around. But yeah. So she obviously doesn't understand that the threat had come, and obviously Cersei had been worried, rightfully so, absolutely. But it was likely a trap by Ilaria or somebody else. I don't know. But then Jamie starts saying stuff, and then basically goes. She says something to the effect like, I did exactly what she told me to. I didn't want to come to Dorne, but now I'm here, and now you want me back? Like, what the hell? Uh, which, again, I understand her viewpoint as well. And she storms off. She's angry, rightfully so. But Jamie, I mean, poor Jamie's caught in the middle of all this bullshit. He's just caught between the dilemma between two women, basically. And I don't know. But Bronn, you know, we thought Bronn was gonna die. He didn't die, luckily. He got the antidote. Um, I'm hoping that saves him permanently because Bronn is Bronn and he should not die. But of course, there had to be a whole lewd scene to lead up to it. Like, the insults were pretty funny, but it was like, I didn't say it was. I said Dornish girls are the prettiest. I didn't say you specifically. And then she basically showed him his tits and stuff like that, and her puh. And eventually he says she is the most beautiful because he's dying. And what great timing. Uh, and I guess that's it for that. Jon Snow, there's not much there. He talked to Alliser, and Alliser said, it's my duty to inform you it's reckless and an insult to the brothers who died fighting the wildlings, which it's not, but, whatever. So he goes, uh, and then Sam gets the shit kicked out of him by two rapists in the, I can't remember their names, but obviously they were going to rape Gilly, but it didn't happen thanks to Ghost. That I forgot he was still walking around. Like I forget that there's still a direwolf around. Um, is I know Nymeria is done. Nymeria ran away, I think, or she's either dead or she had run away. Um, I think it was Sumner, who's Robb Stark's direwolf, who was killed. Yeah, I think it was Sumner. Uh, I know Sansa was killed by Eddard back in like episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was, um, of season 1. And is I think Brand's direwolf still walking around in it? I think so. Yeah, he's still kicking. So it's those two. It's Brand's and John's. So Ghost and Bran Stark's direwolf. I forget his name, but um, hmm. Anyway, a little off topic, but just a quick observation. I forgot the point I was trying to get at is that I forgot that Ghost was there and he's still walking around, and that's awesome. So, Sam and Gilly, they get it on. We don't really see much because the lighting is shit in Game of Thrones when it comes to night scenes and scenes like inside Castle Black. Like really, like they get so much money and there's so much popularity. You can't fix the lighting. Oh, it's supposed to be like that. No, it's not. I understand it's supposed to be dark, but I want to actually see what the fuck's happening. I don't know. It doesn't break immersion either. It just actually, if anything, it breaks the immersion if you can't see what the fuck's happening when you should be able to see what the fuck's happening. Um, but yeah, the lighting is shit in this episode in a lot of places, um, especially inside Castle Black. Could not see anything between Gilly and Sam. It was very difficult, as well as the fight, the small skirmish between him and the two rapists. But yeah. Oh yeah, and he gave John the obsidian dagger, which could come in handy. You never know. So, I mean, that's it for Jon Snow. Stannis is also quite short. There was a lot of viewpoints, but a lot of short stuff. No Arya, again, no Bran, um, etc. So let's see. Oh yeah, there's Sansa, but Stannis. For Stannis, he is, you know, Melisandre is trying to get him to kill his own daughter, basically sacrifice her, and he says, "Get out." So I'm like, yes. At that moment, I was like, yes, Stannis, because fuck, Melisandre's the creepiest character in the entire show, and the fact that she wants to get rid of, um, can't remember her name. I remembered it last week, and now she's only been gone like a week, and I don't remember. Um, but her, her name, but the fact that she wanted to kill him, her, was like retarded, because Stannis would not allow it. If he does, it's crazy. So, um, oh yeah, and of course Davos, wanted Stannis to go back to Castle Black, but I do agree with Stannis because, winter really is coming, for real this time, guys. Um, like, no, for real, guys, it's actually coming. Like, Seriously, guys, seriously. Uh, but if they do that, they could be there for years. They don't know. It's uncertain. And I do usually agree with the opportune moment type of viewpoint, but in this case, this is their only shot. I think they still really do have the Boltons outgunned, even in these conditions. And yes, I know Ramsay said, we're used to this, but guess what? Stannis is a Northman too. They're he's from the North too. I'm pretty sure. Um, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the House Baratheon came from the North. Not too sure, but correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. I guess I'll go to Sansa next because I was kind of going into that a little bit with Ramsay. Again, not much. Sansa, she basically she's like, I did really like this scene because she was talking to Theon and saying, "No, you are Theon Greyjoy," and she's like not letting him out. Apparently, um, she's like, "No, you are Theon Greyjoy. You're not Reek." But ultimately, Reek wins out because he fucking told on her, little bastard. Uh, I really hated that because I really did like the scene because she was, she had gotten to the point where she even asked Theon for help, but I really think she should have just done it herself. Really, I don't know, but freaking Ramsay, he burnt the hell out of the old woman, and um, yeah, so something more drastic's gonna have to happen in order for Brienne to get involved as usual. Uh, I mean, I can see Theon turn eventually. Maybe he might do like some pent up rage type of thing. We'll see, but it just doesn't seem likely right now. Because I mean, it seems sort of like implied that it'll happen, but it's like Reek just won out over Theon this time, so the likelihood just dropped. Uh, so I mean that was big, and obviously Ramsay's not happy. And there was a pretty interesting conversation about the whole bastard thing, which I thought was good. And Sansa laying it on thick to Ramsay with the insults. That was some shit right there. I still think Ramsay's gonna kill Wanda and the child. Um, so what else was there? There was a lot. I know there was Daenerys and whatever the fuck his name is, Jorah and Tyrion. Was that it? Uh, I'll just talk about them, and if there was anything else that I missed, I'll probably think of it during then. So really, with Tyrion and Jorah, they were both bought together, of course. Uh, Tyrion was good. He basically kicked the shit out of one of the people, and they made it to the fighting pit. And then on Daenerys' side, she was, you know, doing her usual thing with Dario, where he really just talks about again slaying all the masters, and she's just like, no, that's not how I do it. And so we go to the fighting pit finally, and um, she can't stand the sight of this guy just brutally murdering people. This guy's a fucking animal, and good guy Jorah comes in to save the day, of course. Just on Himura Kenshin status, just attacking people without killing them, and then he just looks at her like, "Take me back, please take me back." She's like, "Nope, that JPEG." She's like, "Get him out of my sight." She's like, "Wait, I have a gift for you. It's my dick. Oh wait, I have another gift for you. It's this small dick." And Tyrion is obviously Tyrion comes out and basically says who he is, introduces himself to Daenerys, and she, like, her facial reaction, though short, seemed very interested at least. That's um my take on it. Oh yeah, Olenna. That's the other one. That's the other big one. Was Olenna Tyrell. Um, but we'll get there in a second. Uh, so it really just does seem likely that Tyrion is going to help out Dany some way or another. Most likely as an advisor because that's what he does. He was amazing King's hand. He was an amazing hand, and even Master of Coin he did well for the like couple episodes he was in as Master of Coin. The point is he's very good at advising. He's very smart, and he was very good at ruling. Um, season 2 truly proved that. Absolutely, 100% proved it. Um, so, lastly, let's go to Olenna Tyrell. Uh, because she did have a biggest part she's ever had as far as viewpoints go, um, where she spoke to the High Septim, and they had this back and forth, which was kind of I did think it was interesting, um, but ultimately this guy's just being a dick, all in all. Um, she just wants her grandkids back, obviously, and it's true. She's just gonna like isolating the Tyrells is stupid because the Tyrells are going to they really do they account for a lot. This was I remember this was a conversation with Cersei and Tywin a long time ago. They were talking to each other about this kind of stuff, about how um, the two different about the two different houses and how Tyrells were big factor in King's Landing's wealth, um, and that's still the case today. So when that drops, I mean, Cersei is really screwing herself here, as evident now she's landed herself. Just taking out the fact that she's in jail, don't even include that. She is really screwing herself. She's losing points with Tommen every day. Um, obviously, she's pissing off the Tyrells, which is stupid in its own right. It's the same mistake that Robb Stark made by killing off the head of Karstark. Basically the same. I know they're not entirely the same, but it's the same key similarities, you know. Um, and she got rid of her own power basically, like an absolute idiot. She got rid of her own ruling power because she could have ruled through Tommen. She obviously had him. She obviously has him manipulated to the point where she can get almost anything done through him. But she fucked up big time. Not the first time she's fucked up, of course, but this is big. Um, everything's really crashing down around her. This is really the last thing I have to say because, I mean, Olenna Tyrell did talk to Baelish, and yes, it's been 100% confirmed that the two of them were in league. Although we knew it didn't have to be confirmed, but we did know that already, and obviously they're going to be in league for one more thing apparently. I don't think no, the details are not specified yet, but obviously, I mean, it seems like Littlefinger is trying to get the Tyrells on his side, and it makes sense because if they're not going to support King's Landing anymore, they might support Winterfell when Littlefinger plans to take over Winterfell, and then have some kind of a relationship with the Crown or whatever. Um, I think that might have been his plan because he probably knew that Cersei was not going to have power for very long with how stupid shit she's doing. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, so the stuff's crashing down around her, and she's getting what she deserves. I mean, she landed herself in jail. That was like the final like driving it home that like she screwed up big time. Like if it wasn't evident before, it's evident now. Like yeah. So she's basically lost her power. She's lost a huge amount of her money because again, the Iron Bank. If we go back to her conversations with Tywin, she, uh, if you recall, they were speaking. I believe it was season 4, and he says, the crown is in a huge amount of debt to the Iron Bank, and she asks like how much, and he says a lot. So obviously, if Tywin says it's a lot. So the Iron Bank basically has that, and if they come knocking for money and she says no, they'll shut her off completely. And the Iron Bank is the Iron Bank. It's again, I believe Tywin in that conversation just stated how powerful the Iron Bank really is. Um, yeah, they always get their money, etc. Um, the Iron Bank is a major problem with her. She's losing Tommen's brownie points by the day, even though it seemed like she's starting to get back brownie points with that whole fake scene that she had, but it's very quickly going to turn into ashes, basically. So she's losing favor with the actual king. She's pissing off her best benefactors, and um, I mean, there's not much else to be said. She's landed herself in jail. So yeah, I mean, this episode was good. Why? I mean, there are two major things. Bronn didn't die, and Cersei's in jail. Everything else seemed okay to good. So thank you all for listening to this long-winded discussion. There was a lot to talk about, as usual. It's a Game of Thrones episode. And I'll see you all next week.